What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. So this is a topic I have been thinking about and I thought why not come on here and talk about it, mainly because I'm going through a transition in my life right now where I am learning about new things, discovering new things about myself and just changing. I feel like it's a new era for me. And so one of the main things I thought about as it relates to productivity is just the myths and misinformation that is out there about personal development. And so that's why I really wanted to come on here and talk about it. So disclaimer, this is my personal opinion on this. In no way am I imposing this on anyone or saying, this is how it's supposed to be for everyone. This is just what I've learned over time after having, listened to thousands and thousands and thousands of advice out there about personal development. And the very first on that list would be the one size fit all. And the one size fit all is basically the idea that one specific way in which one person does something, be it like a morning routine or whatever, is the exact same way that everybody else has to do that same routine. It's just not true. Because if you think about it this way, the things you do in your life and the way you go about doing certain activities in your life and even just routines in your life, it's not the same as the next person. And so the one size fit all for me has just been something that, I'll see people on the internet, doing, be it a morning routine or a certain habit. And, I would say, okay, I'm going to try that. All these gurus are saying that's what you have to do. Then certainly that's what works. And so I tried so many of those and of course it didn't work. I had to get to the realization that there's just no one size fit all. You're unique and your style of be it learning or routine is unique to you. So the way you learn about something or the way you go about doing something wouldn't be the exact same way that another person goes about doing it. And the next thing would be this idea that true habits are formed in 21 days. I can certainly tell you that that's not true. Well, while that is a fact for some people that, in just 2 to 3 weeks, they can have a skill under their belt, that's the exception. 9 out of 10 times it takes months, even years for you to actually, come up with a habit or learn a skill. And so, when I hear people say like, oh, just do it for 21 days and you have it under your belt, I find that very misleading. A good example I'll give is working out. I saw a girl on the internet the other day, and this is not to bash her or anything, but she was saying, I would teach you how to work out and get abs in 28 days. Now we can all tell that that's just bullshit. It's not gonna work. We can all tell that you cannot basically build a muscle and, have that in 28 days. And I'm sure there's facts out there that can, there's statistics out there that can back this. Whatever the case is, if you're trying to learn a new skill, be it working out, be it eating healthy, those things take time. So don't put pressure on yourself thinking like, oh, I have to do this in 21 days. And if I don't do this in 21 days, it means something is wrong with me personally, or I'm just not doing it, the right way. There is no right way. You're different to everyone. The time someone else takes to learn something might not be the exact same time you take to get a skill under your belt. And so I just always found this, idea that it takes 21 days to get a habit really almost ridiculous, because it just doesn't. There are certain skills that takes years for you to get, or certain habits that takes even years to break before, having to cultivate or learn a new habit. So like I said, just take it easy on yourself. If you don't get it in 21 days, first of all, don't put a time frame to an achievement, because that usually never ends well. If you tell yourself like, oh, in 21 days I want to have a six-pack, the probabilities of that happening is very low. And of course, it takes determination for you to get to a point where you're healthy and you have a six-pack, but putting that specific number and saying like in specifically 21 days I want to have that done, it's just a route for disappointment for yourself. So the next thing is this idea that you have to read multiple books a month for you to, become successful, or for you to, become intelligent, or whatever the case might be. So there's something called analysis paralysis. And basically what that means is that you're taking in so much information that you become paralyzed with that information and you end up not doing anything with that information. I feel like whenever this idea is pushed out that you have to read X amount of books a month to become successful, that's usually what turns to happen. And I can vouch for that because I love consuming information, and I do this in different channels, be it podcasting or audiobooks. These are different ways that you can consume information without having to, stress out about, okay, I need to go buy 10 books and read those 10 books by the end of the month. Chances are you're probably not going to, do everything that those books are telling you to do, which goes back to the point I was making, that you really cannot have everything under your belt in just 21 days, especially a habit you're trying to build. Now, don't get me wrong, reading books is very, very, very good for you. One, because it just broadens your horizon. You just learn new terminology, you learn new ideas, you learn about information you've probably never heard about. So reading books is a really, really good skill or good habit to have as an individual. But then this idea that you have to read X amount of books to become successful, I just don't think it's true, because you can read one book at a time. For me personally, it probably takes me about 2 weeks or so to run through a book, depending on how long that book is. But if I'm listening to it on audiobooks, it takes me about 5-8 hours, depending on the speed I'm listening to it at. But then this doesn't mean that has to be the same for another person, because reading a book is one thing. Retaining the information from that book is a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother ball game. And so, yeah, like I said, the idea that, that's pushed out there, that you have to be a reader and you have to read all these, these books that are supposed to be helpful and to help with your productivity, to help your mindset. Yes, while those books are very good, and like I said, for the reasons I mentioned, it broadens your horizon and just teaches you a lot, it's not mandatory that you have to read all of those books at the same time. So the next thing will be that you have to completely give up certain aspects of your life in order to attain other aspects. Okay, so there's kind of pros and cons to this. While it is very true that for you to achieve success, you have to give up something, I think some people push it too far. There's people out there that say you have to stop doing the fun things in your life and focus on one thing, just one thing only, and give up everything else. I don't agree with that. You don't have to lose yourself to find a different side of yourself. You could still have fun and do the things that you love doing while trying to gain something else. This may be like a skill, or trying to, just better yourself and better your mind, or better your mental health. But that doesn't mean you have to give up yourself. I keep going back to this example, but a very good example is getting healthy or working out at the gym. A lot of people think that, you have to completely cut out every food that, you love eating, or completely cut out, certain diets for you to become healthy. That's not necessarily true. Now, of course, there's tens and thousands of data out there that will probably back this, that you do not have to cut out everything completely for you to become healthy. Well, I'm not a fitness guru and I'm not a fitness trainer, so I can't tell you what specific diet is going to work for you. But one thing I know for sure is that you don't have to cut out everything that you love eating. There's something called portion control, and I'm sure eating just the right amount of something is good for your health, rather than cutting it all out. And this is just an example, but it goes for everything else that is in relation to your life. If you love hiking, if you love if you love biking, if you love swimming, whatever it is, if you're trying to, improve in another aspect of your life, it doesn't mean that you should completely give up, a certain aspect of your life. It's just not necessary. You can always still have fun, all while just bettering your mindset and your health. So the next thing that many people hop on is, this idea where it's don't change anything you're doing. Don't change it, and success will make it your way. Well, newsflash, it doesn't work like that. You have to work hard to get the things that you want to get. Nothing is guaranteed to you and nothing is owed to you. You have to work hard to make that happen. You just can't sit there, and even if you're spiritual, which I'm religious, you just can't sit here praying to God that, oh, please help me, succeed in whatever I'm trying to achieve, but then I'm not putting in the hard work. I have to put in the hard work, all while believing. And if you're not a believer, that's perfectly fine. It still goes. You have to work hard to receive what you want to receive, or, just gain the success that you're after. Because if you sit there, it's just not going to make its way to you. Unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. You have to work hard for what you want to gain. So the next myth, and this one is probably going to be a little bit controversial, is that you have to wake up every morning between 5 and 6 a.m. I cannot tell you how much that destroys a lot of people's stamina and just will to even just move forward in their personal development journey. For me personally, I always thought that, waking up at 5 a.m. was the right thing to do. If you woke up at 5 a.m., the truth about it is that you probably have a longer day ahead of you to do everything that you have to do. But one thing I'm going to tell you is that you do not have to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. in the morning. There is successful people out there who wake up at 8 a.m. in the morning, 9 a.m. in the morning. I, for one, I wake up between 8:30 and 9 a.m. and I still get everything that I need to get done. You do not have to wake up at 5 a.m. I know this is something that is heavily pushed out on social media, where you see people like, a day in the life, and I wake up at 5 a.m. I write my journal, I go for a bike, I work out, and all of these things portraying the perfect life. But the truth about it is that it doesn't work like that for everyone. There's people who obviously work late at night and they get in bed by 1 a.m. or get in bed by 2 a.m. Whatever your scenario is, you're completely different from the other person. And so my main thing is, I don't want people to carry around this burden or carry around this pressure that if I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, then something is certainly wrong and I don't have the right routine because I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Not everyone needs to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. This is an unpopular opinion, but again, you do not need to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. As long as you have a plan and as long as you have a schedule, you can make everything fit in your schedule with you waking up at whatever time you want to wake up, as long as it works for you. Everyone's journey is not the same. Your journey is not going to be the same as the next person's journey. And so you can see someone on the internet and, let's come up with an example. It could be a student, right? And they wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. They have time, granted this person doesn't have children and they don't have a responsibility. Go work out for an hour and then go to a coffee shop, go grab some coffee. And then maybe their classes don't start until like 10 a.m. in the morning and they go to class, come back home, carry on with their day. Now, you being someone who works late at night and you don't get home until 11:30 p.m. or even 12 midnight and you're going into bed late, you shouldn't be feeling that pressure that, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. because I saw someone who's a student and, more than likely doesn't have the same responsibilities as I do, waking up at 5 a.m. So that means I have to wake up at 5 a.m. Now, I want to make something really clear. This is not bashing people who wake up at 5 a.m. Like I mentioned earlier, if you wake up at 5 a.m., chances are you have a whole day ahead of you and you probably have more time in the day. My point is, not everyone needs to be up at that time of the day, and you certainly don't have to put in that pressure on yourself if you're someone that likes sleeping in like myself. I love sleeping in. I love sleeping, but of course this doesn't mean that you should spend all of your time sleeping. It just means come up with a schedule that works best for you and just go by that schedule. You don't need to feel pressured by what you see someone else is doing and think like, if they're doing that, I need to be doing that to be successful. Because you don't. You can come up with a schedule that works perfectly for you and works perfectly with the job and other activities in your life that just makes sense. So the final myth about personal development is that you can buy personal development. So everyone can attest to this. Whenever you're scrolling on your feed, you see tons and tons and tons of ads that are telling you to buy a course or, just hop on a membership, community to where you would find videos or find a purchase course, or even a book. Everyone is marketing now a new book that you can buy to improve on your personal development. Now, let me make this clear. A purchased book or a course will not lead you to guaranteed self-improvement. It's just not going to happen. At the end of the day, it's all data. You have to use that data and put it into action to receive, some type of success at the end. Bottom line is it's information and you choose what to do with that information. It's just like buying a house. You can, go meet an architect and buy the blueprint of the house, or they'll provide the blueprint of the house to you. But then work has to be put in to build that house, which is the exact same thing like the data or the advice you're getting or purchasing from, all these courses and books that are made available. You get to put in the work to make that happen. None of that success is guaranteed. And this is one thing that I don't like personally, is this idea when people are selling these courses, they'll tell you like, buy my course and in 20 days, by the end of 20 days, you'll be financially free. And, or at the end of, however long the course is, you would have improved magically just from buying the course. Obviously, these are all sales tactics. And And whilst many of these might actually work, at the end of the day, it's all data. It's just information. You as the individual gets to decide the hard work you put in to actually receive any achievements at the end of it. But yeah, that really wraps it up. This is a topic that I was like thinking about, and I kind of just wanted to talk about, because there's just a lot of misinformation when it comes to personal development and personal growth. A lot of people are selling, a formula, and a lot of people are selling this lifestyle that says, hey, this is an outline of how your life is supposed to be for you to like personally improve, or for you to just, upgrade your lifestyle. But that's just not true. Everyone is different. Your situation is completely different from another person's situation. But yeah, that wraps it up, guys. If you guys found any value whatsoever in what you've watched, please do me a favor and hit the like button. Leave comments down below of recommendations, just what you guys would love to see more of in the future. And don't forget to subscribe. It helps me more than you know. But yeah, I will see you guys in another video.